Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. So I am on to tier 7 now with the Carthaginians using Hasdrubal. So these are the Mercenary Hippeis? We'll call them the Hippeis. So yes, these are tier 7. I've been playing a few games with these guys, and I don't know if I could quite so far to say as enjoying them, but finding them sort of pretty average. I've got the first shield upgrade and the first set of spears, which gives increased melee attack and damage and that sort of thing. But they've got a bit of a strange or quite a long upgrade tree, which is something I'm finding probably on most units as you get to the higher tiers. They have a larger number of upgrades to do, but it's quite a stretched out one. So to get sort of the proper spear with the impact damage, which is what I want, I'm more keen to have higher damaging charges than anything else, and the body armor, etc., etc. You know, you've got to go through the helmet, which I'd normally ignore, before you get to the greaves and the body armor, etc., etc. Although combined, the greaves and the body armor do actually quite a nice movement speed, a plus 9% movement speed bonus, which is going to be quite nice. So yeah, so far I'm finding them to be all in all pretty average. They don't really excel at any one thing. They're not like the Roman cavalry, which are really strong defense, particularly with Oath of Perseverance. You know, makes them really be able to hold ground, get stuck into fights really well. Or the Greek cavalry, which seem to have a really strong charge, or at least at tier 4. We've still got to continue our grind video with the Greek cavalry. And the barbarians, which I've had up through tier 8 in the closed beta, you know, are very fast, have that extreme manoeuvrability. These guys are just sort of in the middle on everything. And that's kind of makes it hard to play to their strengths and kind of easy to play to their weaknesses. So, you know, mobility wise, 6.9 base. Obviously that's going to get much better once we've got them fully upgraded, and we'll probably have another video looking at these once I start to get them fully upgraded. But you know, with the running the consumables I've got at tier 7, obviously it seems you can use 2 consumables on cavalry, which is nice. So I got with the wild apples I get a 7% movement speed, which is nice because it also gives charge impact and turn speed, which is quite a nice little bonus. And then I'm also running the melee attack, so basically just increased aggression. So yeah, so they're pretty average on that way, and if we compare them to sort of equivalent tiers, see if we can pop up the tech tree here, and say have a look. If we looked at how we're going to do this with these guys here, so yes, the attack 445 pretty low when we compare it to say some of the equivalent tier Romans. Roman cavalry, where have you gone? Legionary cavalry, well 4. It's not actually that much different, but we can have a look at it in more detail. Melee attack 124. Quite high melee weapon damage, and then look at their defense 749, and you know, when you combine that with Oath of Perseverance, which gives them, you know, a 50% increase to melee defense, that can put their defense like near around 900. So it puts them very strong, whereas the these Carthaginians aren't anywhere near that on any specific stat. They're just sort of middle of the road on everything. The one good thing that I really do like about them that they have is the raised shield ability, which gives 50% increase to missile block chance. Doesn't make them invincible to arrows, not at all, and obviously it's only forward facing. But if you're charging into a group of Greek archers and they, you know, see you coming, activate barrage, you can knock that raised shields up, and that will really reduce the amount of damage you take before you impact into your enemy. So yeah, that's quite nice, that raised shields. I do like that. Other than that, let's hop into a game, see how we get on. Obviously I've got Hasdrubal, which I've talked about in previous videos, so I won't go through his various traits, but obviously it's sort of a bit of a cross between a support and aggressive cavalry commander. So let's hop into a replay and see how we get on. So we are spawned in on the Battle of Thermopylae. Obviously we've got our 3 cavalry units all arrayed at the back of the map, and I think I just at the start having a quick look around what's going on, seeing what I plan to do before sort of moving up to the front. I was a bit slow selecting my position. I normally like to start over here so I can get some early spots, but I was a bit slow. Team wise, we are pretty much top tier. Most of our team are tier 6. We've got a couple of tier 7 what are these, Roman infantry down here at the bottom. We've got some elephants in support, some tier 6 elephants, and the rest are sort of a combination of tier 5 and tier 6 infantry and archers and that sort of thing. There's not many cavalry around. I think I'm combined with I think I'm actually the only cavalry player on my team. Yes, I am, and there's only one cavalry player on the other team as it turned out as well. It was a fairly balanced team matchmaker. And that's something else I think we should mention. Obviously we had the update patch yesterday, which has brought changes about to the matchmaking, which is supposed to now make the sides more balanced. So we're not supposed to end up with games where we've got 10 units of archers on each team and 1, you know, cavalry unit. So it's trying to reduce that and put more balanced battles together, hopefully. And obviously there's been a couple of other changes in the patch notes. Obviously a reduction to the damage artillery does, heavy artillery, which is good. I think well needed. Heavy artillery has sort of really become a dominant force in the game at the moment, so that's something that's good to have been reduced. And artillery damage to elephants though has been increased, which is obviously a good thing as well. So I'm looking to get involved in the fight against these war dogs down here, these tier 7 war dogs, see if I can get in. It's not ideal because fighting around the edge of the forest, but we go in and we get a bit of a charge. You know, again, this is where if it had been the Greeks, that charge would have done an awful lot of damage and almost eradicated these units. So that's why I think, you know, again, they're just sort of kind of okay, but they do have some hand-to-hand combat ability, much more than the Greeks do. So in this sort of fight, particularly because we had them completely surrounded with the friendly infantry support, I thought it's well worth getting stuck in and slaughtering these units, particularly as they're a tier 7 unit as well, so it's sort of one of the stronger enemy units. I thought it was worth sticking around for the fight. And there didn't seem to be anything else immediately a threat to me, because our teammates are pushing up past these guys. So we're routing these guys pretty quickly. There's only one dog unit left, and that's netted as a nice amount of early points. You always seem to get quite a good amount of points for damaging these dog units, because there's not actually that many enemy infantry units to a dog unit, dog handlers, so when you start to kill them, you start to accrue points quite nicely. As you can see, we're hardly exactly doing a great amount of damage, given our units are right up against them. We're struggling to actually score some hits, but we do eventually get them and get moving again. I'm trying to not blob, but it seems to happen anyway. At this time I was trying to sneak around the edge of our units, so that's why I was trying to push around in sort of one mass. So our elephants are engaged in some units of Principes. I can't remember if I did get stuck in here. I did. Again, you see we're getting a bit of charge damage, but no amazing amounts of charge damage. This was just a bit of not a particularly useful move. It's just finishing off these enemy Roman infantry nice and quickly before carrying on. Looks like we've really won this centre of the map now, which is great. And pretty much everyone's dead. It looks like a lot of them pushed through this forest here. There's large amounts of barbarian infantry and Romans coming out of the forests. Although this hot selfie here is doing a pretty good job of, considering he's outnumbered 3 to 1. Oh, now cavalry's come for him as well. He's doing a very good job of actually holding everyone back. He should easily, could easily have been outflanked already, but he hasn't. So over here, I'm just still killing off just a few of the remaining stragglers. We get a really nice charge here. Look at that. Oh, that was nice. Now that was, obviously if we compare quickly before these guys get routed, the charge impact, they have 302, which is quite a sturdy charge impact, whereas our base is only 288. But by making use of flying column, it doesn't show us here, it gives us about a 15% increase to our charge impact. And we got the early charge, which obviously meant we won this engagement. Compared to the barbarians, which don't have a commander charge, that only have the inbuilt Gunganiers charge, which just gives them movement speed and acceleration, but doesn't give them any charge impact bonus. So that's how we're able to win that engagement. So that's where Hasdrubal is kind of useful. It still literally took me a while to realise this was actually a reversing Getrix commander, and he got Defiance on, so obviously he's invincible until he's actually dead. So we'll just leave him, because once his thing ticks out, he'll be dead anyway. Obviously, these guys, as pretty much all cavalry, hopeless against elephants. Don't want to get stuck into a pair of tier 6 African elephants. That will be pretty death for me pretty quickly. So since I felt that we were winning and we've got quite a few units pushing on to base, I thought we might as well start to pull back, considering there's quite a lot threatening our base, and so the ability to decap could end up being the winning factor in this. So I wanted to get back to do a bit of defence. So we've got some enemy Roman legions pushing down. We've got some slingers at the back in support. They've got some immense range on them, but obviously struggling to do much damage against the Roman body armour. I see a bit of a possible assistance opportunity here. These two are engaged against each other. Thought I might be able to get in and sort of help them out. I think this guy realises I was sort of coming and tries to pull out of the engagement, which is a wise move. And as he turns, I only really clip his back, which was not so good on my part. Although we do actually, because we clipped his back, we were able to get into rout, which was not so bad. And then we were able to use Hasdrubal's second charge, because we've got the cavalry charge and Hasdrubal's flying column. Meant that when he ran, we had that second charge immediately available to us to go and charge into him. I'm then thinking, oh god, we're actually quite a lot being capped on base. Trying to quickly, so I leave this guy here, try and dash back, ignore the elephant, can't do much damage to us on the move. But thankfully, our team get into the enemy base first and manages to cap out, so it's not something we've got to worry about. So yeah, so I think that's kind of how I've been playing these guys. I perhaps didn't comment during that while I was talking you through it. didn't point out that I was making use of the debuffs. I was making use of, what's it called? Hasdrubal's bribe is the mechanic which gives the enemy sort of minus 50% melee attack and 35% weapon damage. So that's quite a useful ability. I do like that. That is nice. And I do try and make use of that as soon as I enter combat, you know. Particularly if you're facing off against one unit, you can keep it almost permanently debuffed. So that can be really effective. Deep pockets I try and make use of when I'm passing by any sort of nearby allied units. But since I don't think it's really very effective, the 15% melee attack, 12% melee defense. You know, it can be nice, but it's not really a very significant amount. And I think in most situations, instead of stopping to activate this on allied units, it would be a better use of time to circle around the back and get a charge into the enemy units that, you know, are being engaged by the allies. Would be a better use of your time. So yes, all in all, fairly average is my feeling for these guys. I'm not super impressed. I don't love them, anything like that. I much preferred the Roman cavalry, the Legion cavalry at tier 7. And I also preferred the Blood Riders at tier 7. In some other games I've been facing off against the Barbarian Cavalry at this tier. And generally they will win the engagement if I don't get a nice good initial charge and do a lot of damage. So yeah, so my inclination is okay. And hopefully these guys will improve when we get things that start to give us you know, more missile block chance, more speed and armour. The extra body armour could make quite a bit of difference, give them a bit more sort of survivability once we're in combat. And then once we hit the tier 8 of the Numidian Cavalry, the whole playstyle changes altogether again completely, because we go back to sort of a tribal style cavalry, which is, you know, very fast, a lot more mobility. Look at that base 8.2 movement speed, so they're much more like the Barbarian Cavalry. Fast manoeuvrability, hard hitting, that sort of thing, which I'm looking forward to the tier 8. I think this is much more how I would like to play cavalry. So hopefully this has sort of been an interesting insight to the tier 7s. You don't really see them around on the battlefield all that often. Yeah, give the video a like. That really helps the channel out. It helps it search properly in YouTube, so that's always really good if you can like the video. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about these guys. Have you played them yourselves? How'd you get on with them? Or are you finding them sort of a bit okay like me? So, thanks for watching guys, subscribe if you haven't already, and I shall see you all on the next episode.